timing. How long ago was it that Cleopatra came up missing? 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years ago. Do the math. Now, as a female pharaoh, they named her Cleopatra, which in Greek means father lover. But that was not an Egyptian name. That was not her name in Egypt. Now, they demonized the Egyptians as they used the Egyptian information to conceal the truth. The very name Abraham is a misnomer in how it is presented. It is the Egyptian word, and it always has been, because it's part of breaking this spell that was conjured up in Babylon in order to subdue the mother in a matriarchal people, which was us. Now, how do I know this? Because I'm talking about my mama. I'm talking about St. Augustine Shirley Hayes. And you need to pay close attention. Now, what happened was they tried to crucify her. And they tried to put her to death. But wisdom precedes justice. In order for her to be allowed to be put to death, then she would have to have a date in which she could return. So they give us the Jesus story in order to conceal the truth. Now, ask these people in power, where is Cleopatra? Where's she at? They can't tell you, and they won't, because it tells you right in your biblical book that she was taken up as the Christ. How do I know this? Because of the clue that King James left us when he created the letter J. Now notice his name is James. He created the letter J, so his name couldn't have never been James to begin with. As a mystic, we told to pay attention to those things because those are clues. So what was the J in Greek? It was an I. So let's do the math. If Jesus in Greek is spelled I-E-S-U-S, right? How do you pronounce that in Greek? Well, the rule of grammar to apply is called Grimm's Law of Grammar. And it goes like this. When you put two vowels together, the second vowel becomes silent. The vowel behind the first consonant after that carries the long form. This is simple grammar, and you can check it out. It's not hard to find this information. So then the pronunciation of Jesus in Greek is Isis. They already told you who the Christ was, and you wasn't paying attention. You fell asleep. You fell asleep. You fell asleep. Now check this out. They tried to crucify her, but the angels came and take her up. So when they rolled the stone, she wasn't in there. But they telling you it was him. And they calling him the Christ when he is not. That's why it's a verse in Matthew where it says, many will run up to me in that day and say, Lord, I have cast out demons. I have raised the dead, healed the sick, all in your name. And the Lord will turn and say, get thee hence, I know you not. Now, in order to understand how this all takes place, the first four books, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, is part of a 21-part play presented at the Nicene Council. The author of the 21-part play name was Josephus Flavius. Josephus Flavius was a playwright, historian, and he worked for the enemy of his people, so to speak. But he left a clue all throughout the vein, because this is a different view of how, so he's telling you, don't get stuck on one viewpoint of how to look at the Christ. Because if you get stuck on one viewpoint, you will be captured by the seduction of what comes next after the acts. You see? So they told you the 4 different viewpoints when it was actually originally 21 viewpoints. before you got to the Acts. And the 21 viewpoints uncovered all of the 12 disciples, the Christ herself, or they call it the Gospel of Mary. And then they tried to make it look like she's talking about somebody else. But this is the Christ being revealed to who she is. This is the renting of the veil. This is the presentation of truth for the chosen righteous of the Lord. Y'all can either wake up and encompass this love energy that she brings when she returned for her children. Because she raised me personally to do this and told me that wisdom precedes justice. And in order for us to be liberated from the oppressive nature of our natural enemy, out of this Babylonian conjure, they used 2 spells. They fabricated a human, and they call it a golem. Look it up. It's not a secret. They also took an existing human that was a natural human, and they merged them, and they told you it was Adam and Eve. But it's more to that story, and we're not going to get too deep in that because we're focusing on exactly what the Holy Ghost is. Okay, now let's do a quick recap. I told you about the mitochondrial facilitating the energy flow of the bioelectromagnetic beings that we are. This can be verified, and I'm going to leave the references after I get done. I'm just going to start posting references in the comment section, and y'all can go through the references, and then everything that I just said, you can go back over it, match the reference to it, where somebody explained how it works in detail. I'm just doing a quick brush over of it. So, basically, those on the pursuit of wisdom, the wise man, the one who chooses to seek the wisdom, has to reach a certain level of wisdom. When he reached that, that's why in the Old Testament it always talks about being wise, but in the New Testament it always talks about love. This is 2 sides of the same coin. Because if you're going to become Christ conscious, you first have to seek wisdom, and then when the heavens see that you are sincere, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, it's going to lay the rest of it out for you. It's going to be easy after that. Because then they're going to do something you might not like it like you think you is. They are going to smash you with so much love that it's going to make people think you are literally insane. You have lost your mind. Something is wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. Okay? But that is the first phase of receiving the entire Holy Ghost. Now, once you are fully realized with the Holy Ghost, according to the book that they call the Bible, that they stole the information from the hieroglyphics, you got to always remember they use what we already knew in order to oppress our minds. Because our genetic memory recognizes everything I'm saying. Inside us, we already know the story. So they can't let us go inside us and get the story. So what do? They distract us. You know, they shoot us down in the street and make us march so that we can't realize that if we stop and go within, they can't do nothing on the outside. If we stop and realize the Christ within, they can do nothing on the outside. We don't have to shoot nobody. All we have to do is realize our Christ consciousness within. Once that wisdom and that love merge, they call that in mystic studies the phoenix rising. A fully realized Christ conscious being. The one that comes is the one who tells you who the Christ is and makes the way for the Christ. Now, the people that do the thing in church where they can't contain themselves, it's because they can only process this energy through their lower 3 chakras. It stops before it gets to the heart chakra. The heart chakra is the energy center where you realize the divine love. The love of the great mother. when you look in the stars at night and you see what looks like it's black in the background, that is the womb of creation itself. We are within that womb. Within that womb of creation, the essence, they call it dark matter. In ancient Egypt, we called it the Nun, N-U-N. Now, the Catholic Church has suppressed the nunnery. I'm going to evict the Pope and all of his pedophile priests, so don't worry about that. He have to go. He already know he have to go, and he's shaking scared. All of them are. They know. Anyway, Mama said they got to go, they got to go. So the next thing is, if they allow you to become filled with that love that fills that fourth chakra, that heart chakra, at the same time you facilitate that love energy, you cannot be oppressed. It's not possible. It's not possible. They are aware of this. So now, to shorten it up, the Holy Ghost is the energy that we receive from heaven through our mitochondrial processing at its optimum capacity, pure spirit, into our physical bodies, making our whole bodies filled with the light of the Christ. Where it says in the Bible, where both eyes become single, thine whole body shall be filled with light. This is what they call the Holy Ghost. This is not the myth, but if you pay attention, look at the art. In the Catholic Church, the Holy Ghost is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, right? It's the three-part, the Trinity. But where did the Catholic Church come from? Well, it came from Constantine assembling people, but where did they get their doctrine? I just told you it came from Egypt. How do I know this? The Trinity. What are the Trinity in Egypt? It's Osar, Aset, and Heru. This is the Trinity, but the culture is patriarchal. In order to suppress the woman and keep us from realizing our greatness, when a realized man and a realized woman become one, this is what they call the marriage of the Christ. Both fully realized, divine masculine, divine feminine in Egyptian terms. When they both become fully realized, at that point, they become like the remote control batteries, and they can change reality together in a moment's notice. That is what this whole conflict of what they call good and evil has been about. Because all of us are born with a blocked heart chakra with something that they call black goo. You have to go through a certain amount of refinement in order to get enough love energy to break through the black goo. That reference will also be in the link. So not to hold y'all too long on this topic, I didn't see any questions pop up, but I will go into more information over time. I can't give y'all the world in a day. But just know this. I'm about to change everything right in front of y'all face. Everything. All of them gotta go. Watch what I say. As my mama would say, mark my words and check your mind, because I'm going to be with you all the time. Pay attention. Don't miss the signs. They are telling you their time is up and mama is on her way home to collect her righteous children. So those who are not prepared to receive the full love of the Christ, that energy will be too much for your broken down, ill bodies to contain. The love is so great, I cannot put it in words, nor can I put it in glyph form where your brain would be able to grasp the love of the divine. So we was talking about actually what exactly is the Holy Ghost, Jenna. You probably missed most of the video. I'm going to post it on my site so you can go back over it, because the Lord has called you and you act like you don't hear me when I'm talking. So pay attention, sister, because I'm going to do a brief over of everything I just did. I'm not going to do the full lecture, but just to give y'all newcomers a quick brief, and then I'm going to post it. I want y'all to go back because I got to put the references in the link so they can understand. So, the Holy Ghost is the spirit that comes in to animate the human body through the mitochondrial. The matrix is in the mitochondrial. This is how they're telling us we are trapped. Because our bodies is so sickly that we cannot facilitate the rapid introduction of heavenly energy into this corruptible body. This is what it say: you was born in iniquity and shaped in sin. It's not that you are automatic sinner, first of all, because they don't tell you this in the church, but sin was not an act. It was a god out of Babylon. And to be a sinner was to practice the rites of that god known as sin. This is all verifiable, and as I go through the video, I'll be adding references everywhere I see I need to add them. And y'all can go over the references. This is important information, and this is how y'all going to know the real from the fake. Because everything I'm going to say, I'm going to give you a reference for you to look it up, and it's going to make sense when you tie it all together, because this devil got to go. And I'm about to run him out of here. So the energy that comes in through the mitochondrial accelerate the chakras, which are your boosters, your energy boosters, your relays, like they have on the electric line. And as this energy fills your whole body, it illuminates both sides of the brain. Once both sides of the brain are fully illuminated with this love energy and this wisdom, at that point right there, you become fully realized Christ conscious, and you cannot be oppressed. There's nobody that can oppress you. And you get to realize your birthright. For those who consider themselves African Americans or black and they read the Constitution, you know the 3/5 Compromise say that those who they call slaves can only be taxed 3/5. There's a reason that they were not allowed to tax them in totality, and it's not because of their status in servitude. The reason being is because the other 2/5 is God. You can't tax a God, but the God not woke. You cannot tax a God. They know this. Now, I'm gonna give you another piece of information. I didn't want to give y'all too much, but I'm gonna give it to you. You cannot tax a God. You cannot oppress a God. But if the God doesn't use his will, you can have it until he decides he wants it back. In everything that they are doing is to suppress your will. They want to use it, and it's produced in the real world. It look like money. It look like money. From a young rapper named Triple X. This shit heavy. So I'm gonna do some invites, because this is very unexpected, unintended. But I gotta put this out in the public domain. I gotta tell the people what the fuck they doing. So this young kid in my head, he keep telling me, bro, you got him, bro. You got him. Don't bag off of him. It's him, bro. He a rotten motherfucker. He's no good. And I was investigating young Dolph shooting. Triple X say, I ain't dead, bro. But you talking to me, but I ain't dead, bro. He said, you gotta listen to me, bro. It's about the frequencies. They fucking with the frequencies. That's what my whole shit was about, was the frequencies. I was trying to tune us back into the right frequencies. Bro, you gotta tell him, bro. You got him. You got him in the right where you need him, bro. It's expose that shit. Put it out in the public. Let the people decide. Tell him what I'm telling you. He ain't no good, bro. He's a fake. He a fraud. He ain't no good. All he want to do is get that dead celebrity status money. That's where he at. He's trying to get dead celebrity status money. Status money. That's all it's about. He said this is they got him, bro. They got young Dolph, bro, and they